Welcome to class. So this is Yoga for Mental Health, part 3. And the title of tonight's class is Cultivating the Positive Mind. And this is a very strong current in the yoga tradition that has been taken to extremes in some of the traditions. So in the Shivananda tradition, it's absolutely central, and they talk about positive thinking and use a lot of affirmations and things. And in some of the more dodgier things that have gone on in yoga, because it hasn't been immune from scandal, some of the cults have used that tradition of positive thinking and twisted it into brainwashing. But we won't be doing any of that tonight. In fact, I'm going to start with a quote from an app that helps children go to sleep, called the Moshi app, which my daughter, who's just turned 5, enjoys every night to help her go to sleep. And this is it's kind of part song, part story. And the character is Flumpy. It's a sort of strange, cuddly beast. So the song that repeats all through it is, Flumpy, Flumpy, never grumpy, knows one thing is true. The most important friendship is the one you have with you. And I just felt it kind of summed up quite a lot of the yoga teaching on positive thinking, because there's this idea that if you have a mind that is very cluttered, or if you're in a state of emotional agitation or under stress constantly, then that is going to affect your relationships to others, and it's going to affect your ability to remain calm and to have a positive mind. And the other side to it is listening and mindfulness, which we've covered lots. And in this case, it's about listening to the inner critic that so many of us have. And so many people suffer from, where there's a little voice inside them telling them that they're no good, or they're ugly, or whatever it is, really chipping away at their self-esteem. And again, chipping away at their self-esteem means it's going to chip away at their relationship with themselves, and that is going to have a really negative effect on their mental health. So cultivating the positive mind is partly just about observing that. It's a very natural thing. It's part of a self-reflection process with self-aware beings. It's just that can become twisted through, a experience of abusive relationships when growing up, or just personality tending towards introspection and self-criticism. So by observing it, you can separate yourself from it, and you can really see whether those criticisms are true, which you can learn from and change, or how often really they're not based on anything. They're just based on a part of the mind that is highly self-critical. So stepping back from the inner critic, appreciating our strengths, and kind of cutting ourselves some slack. So we're going to start. I know not everybody loves affirmations, and sometimes they can just sound and feel a little bit, a little bit uncomfortable to do, and make you feel self-conscious. So these are ones you just think about. I say them, and you think about them and repeat them back to yourself if you want to. And they're very simple. So we're just going to take a moment of silent reflection with the eyes closed or downcast. And just noticing exactly how you're feeling this evening. Noticing all the sensations in your body. Noticing your state of mind. And this 3-step affirmation, which I'm just going to repeat a few times, goes like this. I am here. I am me. I am the best person I can be. I am here. I am me. I am the best person I can be. I am here. I am me. I am the best person I can be. And then just allow those thoughts to be absorbed in any way that feels right for you. And perhaps just notice whether there was something in you that resisted that. It's often this sense of resistance to praise or being affirmed. It can be an uncomfortable space to be in for some people, and we feel better giving than receiving. And yet we really need to receive from ourselves to nourish ourselves in order to be strong to give to others and to have this positive mind. So we'll move on to the breath now. And if you continue with the eyes closed or downcast, begin to tune into your breath and slowly becoming more and more aware of the sensation of inhale and the sensation of exhale. And in the yoga tradition of pranayama, of breathing practices, there is a frequent reference to the quality of the inhalation being one of nourishment, of drawing breath in, of drawing energy or prana into the body, subtle energy. And the exhale being a release, a letting go. And in terms of cultivating the positive mind, we can think about breathing in that which nourishes us and exhaling what no longer serves us, particularly those critical thoughts or unhelpful thoughts that arise. We're just noticing them and we're breathing them out on the exhale. And you can do that in any situation in life. Instead of getting sucked into argument, conflict, just simply breathing and breathe it out. Coming back to your true center, which is the stillness, which isn't the chattering mind. And then just continuing with the breath for a few moments longer, breathing in and out through the nose unless the nose is blocked, and inviting your breath to gently stretch and expand, allowing your inhale to fully express itself without strain, allowing your exhale to have that sense of full, easy release. And in the slowing down, in the stretching of the breath, we find the slowing down of the mind will follow. The arising of thoughts becomes a trickle rather than a stream. And quickly we are in a place where we can witness the mind, particularly the part of the mind that is generating thoughts that may or may not be helpful. So not judging those thoughts to be good or bad, but just noticing them as they arise. Both are part of the chattering mind, the chitta-vrittis, as Patanjali calls them. And the purpose of our practice is to quieten that down so that we have space between the thoughts to glimpse our true self. So in a moment, just let go of that breathing practice. Notice how you feel, maybe a little shift already. And then when you're ready, blinking open the eyes. And we're going to start in the chair, and if you want to continue in the chair at the time we go down to the mat, that would be absolutely fine. So we're going to start by releasing the shoulders. A couple of things we did last week and a couple of new things. So just letting the arms hang, giving the arms a shake, feeling as if the shoulders are heavy and moving away from the ears, shoulder blades just sinking down the back. Notice whether your shoulders are rotated forwards, and if they are, see if you can just draw them back. So you have the feeling of the shoulder blades flattening against the back of the rib cage. Just a sense of space right at the top of the chest, just in between the base of the collarbones here and the middle of the sternum round about here, right at the top of the chest, the top third of the lungs. And then beginning to move the shoulders, breathing in, taking those shoulders forwards and up, and then breathing out, taking the shoulders back and down. So we've done this one lots of times, tuning the movement into your breath and really looking for that sense of softening and release. So when we pick out a theme to focus the class, like the positive mind, like the thoughts that arise with our inner critic, what we're doing then with the body is exploring that idea through the body and noticing that those negative thoughts are directly causing tension in the body. And that the more we release the body, the more we release the mind. The more we release the mind, the more we release the body. And this is the foundation stone really of body-mind medicine and body-mind interventions. Okay, and then just give the arms a shake. Take the palms out, bring the fingertips to the top of the shoulders. This is a slightly bigger movement, rotating the elbows. Still getting lots of shrugging into the shoulders, but now also lots of rotation through the top of the arm. And this one in particular, you're really going to notice if you're currently carrying a lot of tension in the shoulders. Of course, not all the tension we hold in the body is caused by mental anguish or stress or anything else. It can also be simply held due to physical stress. So if you have a very physical job, you do a lot of weights, say, or gym work, you're going to get sore in the shoulders and feel that as well. So they're slightly different things. So whatever you're feeling in your shoulders, whatever reason that tension may be there, we're still doing the same simple practice, breath and movement and release. And then at the end of that rotation, release the arms, give them another shake. And then if we take the palms out, both palms facing up, and then if you rotate the right arm in one direction, doesn't matter which, and the other arm in the opposite direction, and then just switch as if you're some kind of Eastern or Southern Indian Kathak dancer. So they have a lot of movement in the shoulders because they use the arms and the hands to tell epic stories through dance. And then give the arms a shake, give the shoulders another little shrug, and then we're going to do a slightly stronger shoulder release now. I'll just show you how this works before we do it. So palms are together, maybe sideways will be easier to begin with. So as you breathe in, you're going to take the right hand up, palm forwards, and the left hand down and back, palm backwards. And this is a kind of opening, a diagonal opening across the chest. That's inhale. And then as you exhale, you bend both elbows, and you're not trying to touch the hands, but the fingertips end up pointing towards each other slightly. And then breathing in, stretch it out again. Breathing out, come back to center, and then to even that up, we then go to the other side. Inhale, left palm forwards, right palm back. Exhale, bending the elbows. Inhale, stretch away. Exhale, prayer position. So you may have joined in already, but just have a go at that. Inhale, active stretch. Exhale, try to soften the shoulders. So just bend the elbows, let the arms and the hands end up wherever they want to come to. Inhaling to the other side. I know some of you will be finding this easy and some of you will be finding this to be absolute agony. And if you're feeling quite a lot of discomfort, if you've got tight shoulders or big shoulder muscles that are getting in the way, then don't worry about that. It's a great opportunity to notice whether that mind, that chattering mind, is kicking in with any negative commentary on what you're doing. And if so, just ignore it, just step away from those thoughts and allow the practice to have its softening, releasing effect on the body. So we're going to go once more, leading with the left arm, finishing with the left arm high. And then again, just give the arms a shake, give the shoulders a shake. You've got your belt handy. If you haven't, don't worry about it too much, because we're just going to do that same practice. And it may be that some of you have got such a regular practice or such released shoulders that you're going to find you don't need the belt, that you can actually interlace the fingers behind the back. But we're trying to work without self-competitiveness, without any strain. So I do recommend a belt. Now you can just dangle the belt around the back, have the right elbow high, and then bring this left hand into the position you were just taking it to. But now you can just ease yourself into a slightly different, slightly deeper version of this shoulder release and close the gap. So there maybe there's only about 6 inches of belt between the hands. And then once we're here, this is just a little variation that I really like, is to stretch the belt a little bit. So put a little bit of tension into the belt behind you. And what that does is slightly contract some of the muscles we're trying to release. And then on your next exhale, soften, and you might find that you're going just that tiny bit deeper. So let's just hold for a couple more breaths on this side, unless it's uncomfortable, in which case release. And if you want to stretch the belt once more for a couple of breaths and then soften, or you can just hold this pose. And then notice how the right shoulder, the left shoulder feel, because they're doing very different movements. And it may be that one is very comfortable in one type of movement and very uncomfortable in the other. We'll find out when we do the other side. So to release, let go of the left hand, stretch the arms away, and then bring the hands back to the front and give the shoulders a good shrug and release before we do the other side. So we're going to now hold the belt in the left hand, release it down the back, reach around, take hold of the belt, and just give that belt a little bit of a stretch. Keep this left elbow as high as you can, so you're really opening the armpit when we're doing this stretch. And then putting a little tension into the belt, and then release. Maybe go a tiny bit deeper if you're feeling that. That means the hands could move a millimeter or two closer together. And then again, just a couple more breaths. And if you want to stretch the belt one more time, if you enjoyed that, feel free to do that. Nice, steady, even breathing in and out through the nose, and really accessing the upper ribs and the upper chest in this posture. And then let go with the right hand, breathing in, reaching up, and breathing out. Release the belt, release the arms, and give the shoulders a shrug. And then bring the palms together again. We're just going to check in how much softness we've managed to put into the shoulders with another familiar practice. So breathing in, separating the arms, but really feeling like the shoulders do the movement and the arms follow. Exhale, palms together. Fill the opening of the palms with breath. Fill the closing of the palms with exhale. Keep the shoulders soft and back and down as you do this practice. At the end of this one, when the palms come together, just release the arms down, just a little way away from the body. And breathing in, raise the arms without raising the shoulders. Keep the shoulders soft. Exhale, turn the palms and really feel any tension in the shoulders draining away on that out breath. Breathing in as if we're breathing up from the ground. And breathing out down to the ground, releasing any tension in the body down to the ground. Once more. Very good. Give the arms a shake. And then we're going to do a little bit of forward and backward bending from the chair, and then come into a forward fold. And the forward fold is the one we've been doing most weeks. So again, let me just demonstrate this. So we're going to breathe in, and this cactus arms position is the best one to take rather than arms straight, because it enables you to really draw those shoulders back and open this thoracic chest here, which is the stiff part of the spine. So that is inhale to that position, and then exhale, just beginning to come forward. And as soon as the palms are on the thighs, use the bending of the elbows to lower yourself all the way down. On exhale, tuck the chin in. Last of all, crown of the head pointing towards the floor. Breathing in, lift the head, make the back straight. Inhale, coming up. I'm just going to do a few more of those. Exhale, forwards. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, forwards. Continue at your own pace, a very safe forward bend. Perhaps feel the lower back being stretched out. But also, as you're coming up from folding over the thighs, you're really engaging with a lot of important back muscles. So we're strengthening the back as we go up and down with the breath. Let's make the last one next time your hands come up to this cactus position. And then the exhale, you're just going to stay in the forward fold now for a couple of breaths and try to allow that sense of release and lengthening in the lower back become the main sensation that you experience. This is primarily now a lower back release. The head can be in any comfortable position, but it's usually nice to just tuck the chin in and release the head forward, so you get the weight of the head stretching out the back of the neck rather than trying to hold it in gravity. Very nice. And then coming up, just flatten the back, use the hands to push into the thighs. Coming up, And then release the hands back, either just stretching away or holding the sides of the chair if you've got the kind of chair that allows that. And taking ourselves into a back bend, but not in the neck, not in the lower back, although a little bit will be going on in both. But again, right in this zone from the base of the neck to the beginning of the lower back, just above the navel there. Feel that you're opening the chest, sinking the spine in between the shoulder blades, at the back of the body, lifting the sternum. A couple of breaths there. And then release back to neutral. And our final practice in the chair is going to be a little twist. So we'll come sideways on the chair. We'll start with the hands in prayer position. And as you breathe in, make the spine as long as you can. Feel as if you're lifting through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, rotate to the right. And maybe you want to hold the back of the chair and just draw yourself around a little bit. And then turn the head initially the same direction as the shoulders, so rotating the head all the way around to the right. And just noticing the sensations in the spine, the lower back providing the foundation along with the pelvis for the twist. And then all through that thoracic spine, you've got lots of twists which enable you to turn the shoulders. Then all the twists you have in your neck enabling you to turn your head. So as we often do, just keep the shoulders where they are and turn the head the opposite way, looking back into the room. And just enjoying that sensation now of the spine twisting in two directions at once. Lovely. And then breathing in, coming back to center. Just re-establish the midline of the spine. You'll be turning around to the other side of your chair. Inhale, sit tall, and exhale, rotating around to the left, around to the other side, turning the shoulders and the head together. Noticing the sensations, perhaps feeling that rotating this way is either a little more difficult or a little easier. It's very common. So just noticing that sensation of twist in the body. And then turning the head the opposite way to the shoulders, looking back into the room. And then breathing in, coming to center, and breathing out, doing a little forward bow over the thighs, just to bring ourselves back to the center of the body after those strong twisting movements. Lovely. So we're going to come down onto the mat now. If you're staying in a chair, I'm going to be giving some instructions for that. So for those who are coming down to the mat, once you're down, you're going to draw the knees in over the chest, holding the shins or the thighs, and you're just going to rock from side to side. And if you're staying in a chair, you can do that in the chair. It becomes a little bit more of a sensation of shifting weight from sit bone to sit bone in the pelvis. Very good. So we will do a little bit of work on activating the core muscles and strengthening the muscles of twisting, which we've just used in the seated twist. But this practice will help strengthen them in a slightly different way. So what I'd like to do is just place the palms on your abdomen, and you can do this whether you're in the chair or in this semi-supine position. Feel that the back is flat on the floor. And then as you exhale, gently draw the tummy in and feel the lower back flattening a little more deeply down onto the mat. So if you've recently eaten and feel there's food in your tummy, you're not going to do this strongly, you're going to do it quite subtly. And if your stomach is empty, you can really draw those tummy muscles back as strongly as you would like to. And then the trick is to see if you can then maintain that drawing in, whether it's very subtle or fairly strong, and still breathe freely, but the breath will need to be up in the chest. You don't want your belly moving up and down with the breath, because that will mean the muscles are relaxing and contracting. We're just going to keep this area zipped up for a moment, particularly the area below the tummy button, below the navel. And then we're going to, if you're lying on the mat, you're then going to bring the knees in over the chest, and then we can take the hands away from the body, and we're going to keep the knees and ankles together and begin to circle the legs. And small circles if you've recently eaten or you don't have yet a lot of strength in the core of the body, and bigger circles if you have a little bit more strength there to work. But just make sure the lower back doesn't arch in an uncontrolled way away from the floor as you do this. In the chair, we do a rotational movement of the upper body, which has a very similar effect to the mat practice. And again, you can make these circles small or fairly wide. Very nice. And then the next time the knees come back to center, we're going to bring the right knee in, holding the shin or the thigh. Actually, holding the thigh is quite good for this, because we're going to work on this right ankle for a moment. So if you're in the chair, just raise the right leg and hold the thigh, or you could use a belt if you need to, and do exactly the same practice, rotating the ankle first in one direction and then in the other. And then pull the toes back, pushing the heel away, and see if you can spread the toes as much as possible. If you're in a chair, you can see your foot quite easily, see how well you're doing that. A little more difficult if you're lying down. And then on an exhale, we're going to point the foot, squeeze the toes under. So we'll do that a couple of times. Inhale, pull the foot into what is called dorsiflexion, and exhale, point the toes, scrunch them under, what is called plantar flexion. So really working the toes, the muscles of the feet, and the ankle joint with the breath. Very nice. And then staying on this side, we're just going to keep hold of this right thigh or right shin and slide the left leg straight. So if you're in a chair, just extend the heel away from you on the mat, on the floor, and then exhaling, drawing the right thigh in. And this is another one, if you have recently eaten, then do this quite gently, use it as a mobilizing practice for the hip. But if your tummy is empty, you can draw the thigh in as deeply as you like, and it will kind of massage the right side of the abdomen, the ascending colon there. So this is a posture that gets a reputation for supporting good digestive transit. Very nice. And then breathing in, arms straight, exhale, foot down, and then exactly the same on the other side. So rotating the ankle, circling in the other direction, pulling the toes back on an in-breath, pointing the toes, squeezing them under on an exhale. Really feel as if you are spreading the foot on that inhale, spreading the toes, activating the foot as much as you can. And then on the next inhale, sliding the right leg straight, or taking your weight away from the body if you're in the chair, maybe coming to the shin if your knee is okay, and drawing the left thigh in according to how much is right for you in this practice. We're just going to hold the thigh in as we did on the other side for a breath or two, and the stretching away through this right leg and the drawing in of the left is also, as I'm sure you can feel, really opening the front of the groins here and contributing to a little bit of hip release. Very nice. So we'll release that left foot down, bend the knee, and we're going to bring both knees in over the chest if you're on the mat. And if you're in the chair, you're just going to lift one knee and open one hip at a time like this. If you're lying down, you can do both hips at the same time, keeping the hands on the knees. And again, just like we did with the shoulder, gradually making these hip circles bigger and bigger as you move with the breath. And then try changing the direction of the circles, keeping them wide. And then next time the knees come together, take the feet down, feet are hip width apart. We'll tuck the chin in, make sure the back of the neck is long. Make sure you're supporting the back of the head so the chin isn't higher than the forehead. Back of the neck feels really spacious. Palms are down beside the body. And then as you breathe in, taking the arms up into the air and really stretch the breath, still breathing in, take the arms all the way overhead. And it's like a subtle version of those cactus arms. So not fully bent elbows, but soft elbows so that we really open the shoulders again. And as you breathe out, bring the arms back to their starting position. So let's do that 2 or 3 more times, really looking for a breath-led movement. Release in the shoulders, space in the upper back, the lower back and the back of the pelvis remaining nice and still, becoming a foundation for the space you can create in this movement. And as we do breath, the movement becomes a little slower and meditative, just checking in with the mind, noticing any mind chatter, positive or negative. And if there isn't any, it's a really good sign, that you're able to drop yourself completely into this moment, your breath, your practice. On the next inhale, we're just going to begin to add in a leg stretch. So as the arms go overhead, bring the right knee in over the chest and stretch the leg. And as you breathe out, both arms back, left leg down. We did this last week. So both arms and left leg. And exhale. So perhaps your hamstrings are long, or perhaps more commonly they get tight. So again, notice any agitation, any disturbance in the mind from this practice, and step away from those thoughts. Just let your breath and movement and the stretch work its magic on your body. And the next time we do both arms and the left leg, we're going to make that the last one. And we're just going to grab hold of the belt once more and take the belt around the right foot. If you're lying down, you're just going to hook the belt around the right foot, take it into the usual position. Same if you're in the chair, in breath position with the knee with plenty of bend in it. Exhale position, moving into the stretch. And if you've got any injury to the knee, then either miss this out on the injured side or do a really soft version where you're not really coming either into the fully bent position or the fully straightened position. You're simply supporting the leg and moving the joint if that feels right. So if you are moving into the fuller stretch, on the next exhale, you're just going to hold that stretch position. And for the more flexible of you, beginning to close the angle, using the belt to close the angle between the leg and the body. A sense of even more stretch and space in the back of the right leg. But trying to do that in a way that isn't going to hunch up the shoulders. So keeping the shoulders back and down, whether you're on the mat or in the chair. On your next inhale, releasing the right leg, let the left foot take over the belt, and then working in exactly the same way. Breathing in, release the muscle. Breathing out, invite it to lengthen. Inhale and long exhale. Inviting the mind to just remain in that positive, neutral space of being with the breath, being with the sensations of the body, being with the stretch, but not being entangled in any negative thoughts about what you should or should not be able to do in any particular pose. So on the next exhale, coming into the held stretch. And again, for the more flexible only, just closing the angle, making sure your breath isn't disturbed by any additional stretch that you are taking. And then on the next inhale, letting the knee bend, releasing down. And if you're on the mat, hugging the knees in over the chest, or just folding a little bit over the thighs if you're in the chair, rocking from side to side. So we're going to work a little bit into a back bend now. I'll just remind you how we're going to do that. We're going to use the belt again if you're down on the mat. If you're in the chair, you're just going to be working from the pelvis, doing a little pelvic tilt forwards, and then feeling the back bend moving up the spine. And we're just working on the back bend up to the base of the throat, so we're not throwing the head back. And we're working dynamically with the breath. And if you're on the mat, we're going to use the belt as an extra support here by taking it around the front of the ankles and then having the arms straight. Wrap the belt a couple of times around the hands around the belt a couple of times, feet hip width apart, and then as you exhale, just pressing the lower back flat onto the floor. That's your pelvic tilt. And inhale, sorry, nothing under the back of the head for this one, as usual. Inhale, lifting the pelvis, feeling the weight going into the shoulders, not into the neck. And then exhale, rolling the spine back down. Take a breath here, then start the cycle again. Exhale, flatten the lower back. Inhale, float the pelvis up into the air. Press the shoulder blades down into the mat a little bit. Exhale, roll the spine down. So we're going to do that 3 more times. And if you want to work a little bit more strongly, then on the first one or the second one, you can just come into the held version of this shoulder bodhi padapitham. So it's a pose with several names. And if you're in the static version, you can work a little bit more deeply into it by really pressing even more down to the ground through the shoulders. That's actually quite freeing for the front of the upper chest. Pressing through the feet and the big toe joints, slightly internally rotating the thighs and feeling the front of the hips lifting, but not the belly lifting. So as the hips go up, they're opening the upper back, rather than taking you into the lower back. And when you've completed 3 or finished holding the pose, roll the spine down, draw the knees in and take a little rock from side to side. Lovely, well done. Often back bends are a trigger for some of that inner chatter, so notice whether that was the case for you. And then we're going to slide the legs straight. We're going to breathe in, take the arms up into the air, and then take the arms all the way overhead and stretch to lengthen the body. And if you're in the chair, just doing that, but only in the upper body. And as you stretch, if you're in the chair, as you reach up, you're just trying to draw in the tummy muscles a little bit more than the people on the mat, because when the arms come down, if you over relax, you're going to lose that length in the spine. So on the next exhale, when the arms come back onto the thighs, if you're in the chair, or beside the body if you're on the mat, just releasing but maintaining that spinal length. And then we're going to come into our spinal twist. So if you're lying down, on the next exhale, release both knees out to the right and just take the arms a little way away from the body, palms facing up. Bend the elbows if you're tight for space. Keep the elbows level with or lower than the shoulders. And if you're in the chair, you're just going to breathe in, bring the palms together and breathe out, twist to the right, turning the head the opposite way. Inhale back to center, exhale, turn the shoulders to the left and the head going in the opposite direction. So this pose is a fantastic way to mobilize the spine through twisting movements in a risk-free way. But if you are someone who's done a lot of practice and you want a slightly stronger twist, if you're easily keeping your shoulders on the mat, you can either bring the feet and the thighs together, that will make it stronger, or you could even bring the knees in over the chest. That is quite strong though, so only do that if it's part of your practice and you know that you can do that safely. So just moving in and out of the twist a couple more times, to the right side, to the left side. And then we're going to release from that pose, either if you're in the chair, folding over the thighs, or if you're lying down, just bringing the knees in over the chest and taking a little rock from side to side. And then we're going to come onto all fours for those who are able to. And again, if you need to stay in the chair, you can. If it is a knee problem, we're going to be doing the cat next. So you could do the cat and the posture that follows the dog using the back of the chair, which might be good to get you out of the chair if you've been feeling that you've been stuck there for ages. And if you're okay to come onto the knees, still pad them, feet hip width apart, hands in front of the shoulders, and begin to move with your breath, opening the spine and then arching up. We say every week in class, if you've got any shoulder or wrist issues, just simply raise the hand foundation end of the pose, either using the chair or using some yoga blocks. There's no point doing a practice that causes discomfort or exacerbates anything that's going on in your body. And then on the next inhale, if you're on the mat, tuck the toes under, bring the hands to the floor and make a little pillow with the hands. So you're in a pose of the child, but with the toes tucked under. And that will just stretch out the feet a little bit. And then breathing in, coming up, and we're going to just move into a downward dog and then come up and do a couple of standing practices. So again, those toes are tucked under. If you're going to work your downward dog from the mat, you're just going to bring the hands forwards. Inhale, come up to a cat-like position. Exhale into the downward dog. And you can release by inhaling, knees back, exhaling down. Inhale, cat. Exhale, downward dog. Or if you want to hold the position, feel free to do that. And as we did last week and the week before, the back of the chair is a great way to practice the downward dog, either holding the pose or working that 4-breath movement. So find a version that works for you, that is lengthening your spine, perhaps giving you a little bit of stretch in the legs, but don't overdo that if it rounds the back. So you need to keep that flat back, first of all, support from the inner body, and then take a little bit, just a little bit of stretch through the legs, being mindful that you're not interrupting that structure of the pose. And then when you're ready, if you're still holding the pose from the floor, come down, take a little counter pose. If you've been using the back of the chair, walk the feet in and coming up to mountain pose. And once you're here, we're going to re-release the shoulders. Give them a little shake. And then we're going to roll the shoulders back, sweep the arms up, and exhale, bring the palms down through the midline of the body. Just taking all the tension out of the shoulders from the weight-bearing work we've just done in cat and dog. And also just getting the feet used to the standing work we're about to do. So lifting the toes as the arms go up, lowering them on the exhale, lifting the heels as the arms go up, lowering them on the exhale. 2 more, 1 for the toes, 1 for the heels. And then release. So we're going to do just a little bit of additional lengthening of the back of the legs. So we often do a lunge at this point. We're not going to do a lunge this week, but we're going to do the slightly stronger stretch using the chair, and then we're going to do a quad stretch, which will have some of the similar effects to the lunge, so that the same areas of the body will be opened. And because we're putting the foot on the chair, make sure the chair is stable. I'm sort of ideally located here that I can place the foot on the chair and grab hold of something that's not going to move, like a wall or in this case a bookcase. And then we're going to begin to straighten this leg. So whether you get the leg fully straight is going to depend on your hamstrings. And if you can get the leg fully straight, you're going to begin to pull the toes back and feel the length all the way from the sit bone down through the hamstring, across the knee joint, through the calf muscle and down again. So if you're doing this from the chair, you're simply stretching out the leg like this, or even placing the heel on a yoga block or 2. So there's an option to use the belt here with one hand, and that can just help to activate the foot a little bit. So the belt wraps around the hand, and you're back in this dynamic stretch. And whether you're using a belt or not, we're going to deepen this stretch to its comfortable maximum by taking the upper body forwards at the hip crease. So we're not going to round the back at all. We're just going to lead with the heart and probably round about here, just a slight forward movement. Because the leg is elevated, you're going to feel quite an intense stretch through the back of the leg. So I know some of you will be going quite low down with this, and some will be right up here. It's a very challenging, it's quite a deep hamstring stretch. And again, it's just designed to help us notice whether that inner critic, those unhelpful thoughts that disrupt the positive mind, whether they arise at times of challenge in our life and in our yoga practice on the mat. Very nice. And then we're going to ease out of that stretch. So first of all, bring the spine up and then softening the knee and then releasing the foot and then giving both legs a little shake. And then doing the other side. You might need to move the chair like I'm doing if you are using the belt and accessing a wall or not. So with or without the belt, working the same way on the left leg, a strong standing leg with the right leg and the toes not really turned out any amount at all. Allow the left foot to be pulled back, and then when you're ready, beginning to straighten the leg and beginning to ease forward, being mindful of not rounding the back. The steady breath here is vital, and your ability to maintain that quality of breath is an indication that you are right where you need to be with this practice. Lovely, well done. Breathing in, coming up. Soften the left knee. Release the belt, release the leg. Give the legs a little bounce up and down just by stepping on the spot, or if you're in a chair, to give the legs a little shake from there. And then the kind of counter pose for that movement, which we're going to use the back of the chair for. And again, some of you might actually find the belt useful if it's tricky to grab hold of the ankle. And also, if you've got any knee problems going on, you might just do a version of it like this or like this. But we're moving towards this position. So the heel is coming towards the outside of the hip, and the knee may be forward of the standing leg, or it might come level with it. That's a really good stretch for the quad. And then if you move that knee back, then you're coming into the beginnings of a modified version of a pose called the Dansa Natarajasana. And this is stretching both the quad and the hip flexor, the stretch that we get in our lunge position. The back of the chair is really, really helpful. Again, if you had a wall in front of you or you're feeling really confident, you could take the palm forward and just tilt the knee back a little bit more and draw the upper back into a little bit of back bend. But I'm really happy for you to do this version, but I know we have some very experienced practitioners in the class with us. So just find the version of the pose that works for you. And then when you're ready, release, give the legs another little shake, feel that space through the right thigh and the right side of the pelvis. And then we're going to repeat that on the other side. So here or here or here, moving towards knee and thighs lining up, and then moving a little bit deeper if you can. It's also a great position for the shoulders. If your shoulders are up and tight, this can really help you to draw them back and down as the leg is guiding the shoulder into that position. Steady breath, strong standing leg, And just really enjoy this pose for a couple more breaths and notice any thoughts being generated from the chattering mind, the inner critic, and observe those with equanimity and distance. And then releasing and giving the legs a shake. And we'll take a little counter pose for that, just holding the back of the chair, just an easy forward bend like an easy dog with the chair supporting us. Lovely. So the last practice we're going to do is a sun salutation, which you can do from standing or sitting. So if you're standing, please stay standing. I'm going to demonstrate this from seated, but it's exactly the same if you're standing. So breathing in, opening the heart. Breathing out, taking the hands to the thighs and bowing forwards. Breathing in, coming halfway up. And breathing out, folding a little bit deeper. Breathing in, coming up. Lift the arms, release the back. Breathing out, palms together. Breathing in, take the palms up as high as is comfortable for you. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, hands to heart. Just continue in a chair if you're working from a chair. Otherwise, we're going into round 2 for everyone, whether standing or in a chair. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees. Use the thighs to lower the upper body forwards. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, go a little deeper into your forward bend. Inhale, flat back, come up. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, side stretch to the other side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more round. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release forwards. Inhale, coming up with a flat back. Exhale. Inhale, reaching up, palms together. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Release the arms. Just take a moment to notice how you're feeling. And then make your way down to our restorative inversion, supporting the back of the head with a blanket, elevating the back of the pelvis slightly with a yoga block if you have one, and then coming into a period of softness and release with the body gently supported in this mild inversion. Notice your breath. Notice the sensations in the body. Notice the quality of mind. And then in the next breath or two, gently releasing from the mild inversion and coming into whichever relaxation position is going to work best for you tonight, either lying with the legs straight on your back, or the knees bent, or on your side. Don't recommend relaxing in a chair unless you've got really good sides to the chair. You're not going to fall out of it. So if you can get yourself into a supportive chair or in a comfortable position on the floor, that would be best. And once you're in your relaxation position, it's taking a few moments to be fully aware of every sensation in your body, and particularly the sensations of the body where it is touching the ground, the chair, the earth, and beginning to initiate the process of relaxation by giving yourself permission to release the body down to those points of contact with the earth. And as you do that, particularly feeling that sensation of release, foundation, steadiness on the exhale. Every inhale, we're going to imagine, is nourishing the body. And every exhale, we're going to imagine the body softening just a little bit more. So noticing the points of contact between your right leg and the ground. Inhale and exhale, soften. Notice the points of contact with the left leg. And as you exhale, soften. Notice the contact with the ground through the pelvis, through the hips. And as you exhale, soften. Notice the connection with the lower back and the upper back to the ground. And as you exhale, soften. Notice the contact of the right arm to the ground. Exhale, soften. Notice the contact of the left arm to the ground. And exhale, soften. Notice the contact to the ground of the shoulders. And exhale, soften. And notice the contact to the ground of the head. And exhale, soften. Allow the whole of your body to be still. Allow the whole of your body to soften as you breathe out. And I'm going to repeat the affirmation from the beginning of the class. Again, just either listen, repeat it silently to yourself, or let it wash through you. I am here. I am me. I am the best person I can be. I am here. I am me. I am the best person I can be. I am here. I am me. I am the best person I can be. And now allow your breath to deepen. Move the fingers and toes and stretch your body in any way that feels good. If you're lying with the legs straight, bend the knees, roll onto your side, and then make your way back up to sitting or sitting back on your chair. And when you've made that transition, just keeping the eyes closed or downcast, just a moment or two longer. Have a short reading from the Eckhart Tolle Stillness Speaks book, which is here. When you completely accept this moment, when you no longer argue with what is, the compulsion to think lessens and is replaced by an alert stillness. You're fully conscious, yet the mind is not labeling this moment in any way. This state of inner non-resistance opens you to the unconditioned consciousness that is infinitely greater than the human mind. This vast intelligence can then express itself through you and assist you, both from within and from without. That is why, by letting go of inner resistance, you often find circumstances change for the better. Just going to tune into our breath one last time. Inhaling nourishment, exhaling what no longer serves us, exhaling physical tension, mental agitation, negativity, just allowing a quiet stillness of the positive mind to be nourished and to flourish. And partly because it just tickles me, I'm going to let the final word go back to Flumpy from the Moshi children's relaxation. Flumpy, Flumpy, never grumpy, knows one thing is true. The most important friendship is the one you have with you. Thank you very much for joining me for the class, and see you next time.